Welcome back, NEC Hoops fans, for the latest edition of NEC on the Run on the NEC Overtime Pod. I'm Ron Ratner, joined as always by Ryan Peters, our intrepid blogger. You can find him on Twitter at Pioneer_Pride. Are you ready to go, Ryan?
We had a full weekends of games, so let's do it.
Well, then let's just get going with our weekend takeaways.
Let's start with Bryant. A big weekend, in a back-to-back series with Merrimack, and they played really well. It wasn't the prototypical Bryant Bulldogs run up and down the floor. First game, 65 possessions. Second game, similar. But Bryant got it done. Michael Green, Hall Elijahs, they were really solid. Hall Elijahs was just like carving it out in the paint on Sunday, and they played really well. They had a stretch on Sunday in the second half where they scored 41 points on 32 possessions. That's not easy to do against this Warriors defense, but all the credit in the world to Jared Grasso's team coming off the COVID pause. Now they're back in the driver's seat for a playoff home game in the NEC tournament. There's still 4 games to go at least for Bryant, but they're in good shape.
One of the things I've noticed with Bryant is they've been able to adapt this year. Yes, they like to run and gun and score 90 points a game, but they'll beat you in the 60s as well. And I was pretty impressed with them playing a tough team to come back from, to play Merrimack for two games after being off for 20. But I liked what I saw from them. And then you're right. I think they're in a driver's seat and they're still in position to challenge for the top spot.
Yeah, they've been efficient, and even in the half-court set, right? And right now, Jared's got 7 guys playing significant minutes for him. I believe in that second game, 7 guys scored and gave him a significant contribution. So they could shoot the 3, they could post you up, they could run the floor, they could make a play off the dribble. They're versatile, and that's what you need to win in this league, is to be able to adapt at all times to different styles and different schemes throughout the league.
Now, as we look at the standings here, if Bryant is to challenge for that number 1 spot and home court advantage for the semis and for them, hopefully the final, they will have to unseat Wagner, who has now won 9 straight games, 10-4 after a 1-4 start, playing some superb basketball, 2 more sweeps last week. Ryan, how is Wagner? Wagner's won close games. They've won some blowouts. What's going on in Staten Island? Bashir's doing a great job with this team.
Tremendous job. We keep talking about him every single week now, obviously. Longest winning streak now since 2013-14, back when Bashir Mason had this engine really humming back then. So they won easily on Saturday. And then Sunday, they were down by 10 early in the second half, and then a 13-2 run kind of got them going. Elijah Ford, a career-high 31 points. He was terrific down the stretch. Him and then Delani Hunt made big buckets in the final 2 minutes of that game to get them the win against the Red Flash. And they're playing terrifically now, and they're going to be a tough team to beat at home. That's the one thing that would scare me if I'm an opponent playing them in the first round of the NEC tournament, is to have to beat Wagner in Staten Island would be a tall task, especially the way that Bashir has his team going.
Yeah, I was impressed that the way they came back, especially with Alex Morales on the bench in foul trouble. They found a way to win. And sometimes you don't have to win by 20. You just got to win by 1. And St. Francis played a great game on Sunday. And Wagner did what they needed to down the stretch. As you said, some big plays, Elijah Ford, Delani Hunt. Wagner now 10-4. One of the other teams in contention is LIU. And boy, did they need a sweep this past weekend. And they had to work at it. They had to work hard because Central Connecticut came to play in Brooklyn. But LIU got the sweep. Now 9-7, back in good position to make a run at one of the 4 playoff spots.
Yeah, 2 things I took away from the weekend for the Sharks were they had 45 assists on 62 made field goals over the weekend for a 73% assist to field goals made ratio. That's terrific. When this team is sharing the basketball and finding the open man and hitting their shots, they're as good as any team in the league, quite frankly. And then, Ty Flowers, just once again, another heavy lift, 46 points, 21 rebounds, 13 assists, 8 steals and blocks in the 2 contests. I mean, he's terrific. And, Flowers, I think sometimes he falls in love with the 3 ball, but it's only because he's just so good around the rim this year. He's making 66% of his takes near the rim, according to Hoop Math. And he's just so difficult to guard for any kind of NEC 4 or 5 in this league. He's a player of the year type of candidate when he's going well, and he certainly was going well this weekend.
As I pointed out over the weekend, he does it so effortlessly. It looks so easy. The game comes so it's slowed down for him. Such a talented player. He helped put LIU in a good spot. I'm going to give you just quick. Give me a couple one-liners. Some players that had some good weeks this past week. Chauncey Hawkins, 3-in-1 week for the Terriers.
Yeah, 85 points on 60 shots, 17 assists on 5 turnovers. He's really playing at a high level right now for Glenn Breaka.
How about from your Pioneers? Boy, Aaron Clark, when he's playing at a high level, boy, is he tough.
He's fun to watch, Ron, because he's either all behind the three, behind the arc making threes, or he's getting to the lane as best he can. He uses that kind of quickness and savvy that he has, and he's fully healthy now. So no wonder he's averaging 19 points in his last 3 games.
Yeah, he was big. SHU needed one of their typical splits, and they got it because Aaron Clark came up big especially in the second half on Sunday. And then how about Mezi Offerum on the mount, desperately needing to win that second game at FDU, and he provided a lift.
It didn't look good for them out there. They're down 10 midway through that game, but Mezi, 23 points, 13 assists. He was fantastic in helping the Mount dig out of that first half deficit on the road. And he had 33 points, 19 rebounds on 65% shooting over the weekend. He's a terrific slasher, a big 3-man, uses his size really well, can finish in traffic. He's got that little jump hook that works well in the lane. So he's a good player when he has it going.
He's got the size. He has all the tools. Mount also fighted for that playoff spot. Looks like we're going to have a photo finish in the NEC over these next 10 days or so. And those are our weekly takeaways. Heading into our Twitter timeout, National College Insider Jeff Goodman showing the NEC some love over the past weekend, attending the Bryant Merrimack game. Ryan.
Yeah, I'm jealous. I wish I could have been there, but it's nice to see kind of Bryant and Merrimack getting showcased at a national level because you look at the jobs that both Jared Grasso and Joe Gallo have done over the past couple of years with these programs. They've turned into 2 of the premier programs in the league, and all the credit to the coaching staffs and the players and the job that they've done. And it was nice to kind of see them get a little love on Twitter from Goodman.
Agreed. A lot of eyeballs were on Bryant Merrimack this past weekend, including Jeff Goodman. That was our Twitter timeout. I say it every week. My favorite segment is the under the radar performer, Ryan Peters. This one I know you're excited to tell us about.
My apologies, Ron, for continually going to the Anthony Latino well with these under the radar guys. But Contavio Dutrell has been really good for Sacred Heart of late. He's the best, one of the best rebounders in the league. First in defensive rebounding rate, first in offensive rebounding rate, second in rebounds per game. And he's been really a difference in the low post for Anthony Latini. Latini's been running offense through Contavio, and he has really good footwork. He was a significant presence this week against Brooklyn. And he's really kind of solidified that front court after Sacred Heart lost both Jarrell Spellman and EJ Anasicki this offseason.
Again, Contavio Dutrell, one of many talented bigs in the NEC this season, and he is our under the radar player of the week. Star Watch time. We're heading to Smithfield. Big weekend for Hall Elijahs. Tell me all about it, Ryan.
I have a soft spot for the big men this week, Ron. We all know what a defensive star Elijahs is. I mean, obviously he has the best block rate in the NEC. He was terrific last year, basically protecting the rim. But I kind of wanted to highlight how good he is offensively too. We kind of take him for granted on the other end, but over the weekend sweep against Merrimack, 34 points. And, as you said on Twitter, he owned the paint in Sunday's win. And quite frankly, Merrimack did not have an answer for him. So when you talk about Bryant's offense, you talk about obviously Michael Green and Charles Pride and Peter Kiss and all those guys, and rightfully so. But Hall Elijahs is a really good big in an offensive set, either running the floor as we've seen in highlights before, but also in the half court as well. So make no mistake, he's a critical piece. And, right now he's got the 9th best KenPom efficiency in the league. And the 2nd best 2-point field goal percentage in the league. So Hall Elijahs, in my opinion, he's a star on the offensive end.
The DeAndre Jordan of the NEC is Hall Elijahs on an ultra-talented Bryant team. And he is our Star Watch player of the week. Our NEC play of the week is a spectacular one. Another great play from FDU. Why don't you break this one down, Ryan?
I mean, wow. It's you have versatile bigs on FDU. So Elijah Williams running the floor, getting the block, hitting the deck, getting the block. But I mean, Elijah Williams is a terrific defender and very versatile, run the floor. But then you get it to the freshman, Joe Munden Jr. I mean, talk about an exciting player coming up in the next 3-4 years for Greg Herenda. I mean, the spin move in the lane and then the finish around the rim. He's going to be a special player. And right now, he's really kind of keyed Herenda's rotation. He's been above average in efficiency, which you don't typically say for a freshman wing like Munden, or like any freshman wing, and making 45% of his threes in league play. That's really outstanding. So he's going to be a really good one. And it's kind of like a passing the mantle, so to speak, going from Elijah Williams to Joe Munden Jr.
Yeah, they must teach that spin move over at FDU between Jaleel Jenkins and Brandon Rush and Joe Munden Jr. So they're exciting players and they make highlight reel plays. And that was our NEC play of the week. Turning our attention to our milestone segment this week, it's all about Greg Herenda, who's won 2 NEC titles at FDU. Now he picks up his 100th win.
Yeah, tremendous accomplishment for Greg. The most memorable thing about Greg and his kind of run here at FDU is he's been really good in the NEC tournament. He's now 7-4 career, and you mentioned those 2 championships. And the team's run in 2019, it was just really something special. It started with a great tournament. They knocked off Robert Morris and then St. Francis U in that terrific title game, and then they beat Prairie View A&M in the first round in Dayton in the NCAA tournament. So that's what I always remember about Greg is, those kind of great runs that he had in both in 2016 and 19 with the Knights. And the thing with Herenda is the team always plays really fun basketball. They're really good offensively, and they can win on any night. They could drop 90 on you any night. And that's the kind of the style, the offensive friendly system that Greg runs. And, credit to him for 100 wins and many more.
Congrats again to Coach Herenda, 100 wins at FDU. Now it's our game to watch this week. It's our ESPN3 wildcard selection. Bryant hosting LIU, Battle of 2 NEC contenders. Ryan, why should we all watch this game?
There's a lot on the line, and arguably these are the 2 most talented teams in the league. I mean, how can you not get excited about a team that's 4th nationally in tempo in Bryant and a team that's 6th nationally in tempo in LIU? We're going to see a lot of up and down, a lot of chuck and duck, a lot of running. And then you look at the individual matchups, Michael Green versus Jermaine Jackson Jr. at the point guard spot. Jackson Jr., we didn't mention him, but he had 24 points, 4 assists in LIU's win on Sunday. And then Erol Penn against Hall Elijah's, 2 of the very best NEC 5 men in this league. And then Ty Flowers versus Charles Pride in kind of that stretch forward spot. I know Bryant plays a lot of zone, but I'm really fascinated to see these matchups and see how they play out.
Big time NEC matchup. Wild Card Thursday, February 25th, 7 p.m. on ESPN3. You can also watch it on NEC Front Row. And as always, watch all the other action this week on NEC Front Row for free and on the NEC On the Run app. And that just about does it on NEC On the Run. Ryan, thanks for joining us as always.
My pleasure, Ron.
All right, this was NEC On the Run on the NEC Overtime Pod. Looking forward to the games this week as we begin the home stretch of what has been a memorable and exciting season.